How do you determine in your life if a system, a practice, a rhythm, or a habit needs to die? So, in this last season of my life, I have been watching this system in place. And it's a systematic avoidance, you could say systematic and even systemic avoidance and neglect of the apostolic and prophetic gifts. I have to do so much deep rooting work to help apostles and prophets even see that their gifts even valid and even what it looks like. There is such little knowledge about what apostles look like, their weaknesses, their tendencies, their behaviors. It's almost like we're relearning this from the ground up. Now, yes, there are some good teachers, Alan Hirsch, Mike Breen, other people like Wolfgang Simpson, Neil Cole. There's a bunch of people teaching on it now, but it's still like we're talking a fraction. And, you know, it's starting to really bother me because it's like the more I meet with people, I'm like, this is a problem. So, when I look at the scriptures, I'm constantly seeing something new here, and I'm really excited, but also disturbed by it. I see Jesus' message as a way, because if you can't understand how the heart connects to your gifts, you'll miss everything. And I'm finding, and this is one of my big, this is the big drum I hit in my life, if you will, is how crucial the heart is, and how Jesus is, through the new covenant, he's giving us our heart back. He gives us a new heart. Jeremiah prophesies this to come about. And there's a lot of terrible teaching in the church about the heart and why we shouldn't listen to it. And it's all out of context. It's misusing Jeremiah, quotes like Jeremiah 17:9 way out of context. When Jeremiah in the new covenant tells us that we are getting a new heart. And so this is a big topic. Well, just as an example, the more I see Jesus teaching, I see that he is constantly trying to correct a problem. That the Pharisees are constantly missing that it's about the heart. I think that's actually his message. I think his message is, you are missing it. It's about the heart. Because they will quote all these fine-tuned laws to Jesus and say, Jesus, you can't heal this guy or tell him to pick up his mat. It's the Sabbath. That breaks the rules. And Jesus is going, oh my goodness. Don't you see it's about the heart? Don't you see it's about the core motive, your underlying, your desire, your deepest reason why you do what you do? And so, we will sit on the outside, a couple thousand years later and go, get him, Jesus, get him. Yeah, those guys they're bad. But in reality, remember, he's going against a system. And so when you go against a system, the system fights back. So I am watching how there is a systemic problem, especially around the apostolic and prophetic. So, for example, the doctrine of cessationism, which basically means, I was taught this in earlier years of my life, that all the gifts don't exist today, because when the Bible was complete, we don't need them anymore. So specifically the prophetic gifts, like tongues or prophecy or words of wisdom, etc., don't exist. Well, I believe this is terrible teaching. It's way out of context, and the impact of how this has affected people is that they don't even know prophets exist. And if they do think they exist, they don't know what they look like. And so the similar thing with apostles. I mean, there's all kinds of teaching. The cessationist movement has affected the apostolic gift too. But, even in my seminary program, a good solid evangelical seminary program, I don't think I heard the word apostle once in any of my classes. So I've realized this is deep. We don't talk about it. Now, here's the irony. Apostles, as I now understand and grasp, are designed by God to build and make systems. So isn't this ironic that there are systems in place that are trying to push against apostles, and yet it's the apostles that are the ones that create the new systems that are relevant. So when Jesus is railing against anything or anyone that stands in contrast to the message of the freedom of the heart of God, the gospel of freedom, of joy and love and hope, he's trying to help people see we need a new system. And this is one of the things why I think it's so powerful if we unleash apostles, if we give them back their permission. And really what that means is telling apostles, excuse me, you have permission. You have your gift. Now, do you still need community support? Do you still need to be wise? Of course. But it is time to start looking at the ways that these gifts, specifically the apostles and prophets, are systemically avoided and neglected, and to start talking about it, to start having conversation. and start really stepping out and being bold. If you have these gifts, you will have to be bold. You will be bucking a system that likes stability. The pastoral teaching gifts, they're designed for stability. If you have apostle and prophet gifts, they're not. They're designed for risk. They're designed for innovation. They're designed for new systems. So I want to encourage you to pick up the mantle of whatever gift you have and go forward. But take a look around you and see what kind of systems are in place that might be hindering me.